Hey guys, it's Snell here once again. So, it recently dawned on me that the last time I took a look at any 32GB DDR5 kit is almost a year ago. For the longest time, I'd been looking at 24GB M.die based memory, and in fact, my experience with the entire Z890 platform up until now is based entirely on this one IC. This is until recently when I got my hands on a KingBank SoarBlade memory set. Okay, so before we talk about anything else, if KingBank is new to you, well, welcome to the club. I was unaware of this brand as well prior to this set, and in fact, I first became aware of this brand in like mid-December 2024, and as such, this SoarBlade memory was literally my first experience not only with the brand, but with a die on the Z890 platform. To cut a long story short, I'd forgotten how much I appreciated this IC. For a brand that I was unaware of, and at a price that seems too good to be true right now, I must admit I'm more than impressed by what this memory is capable of. Okay, so here are some quirks about this memory that you might want to know. For one, it's mostly, if not exclusively, outside of China that is, only available from AliExpress. I know not everyone is comfortable with shopping for this kind of thing from this retailer, but it is one of the biggest e-tailers on the planet, so I'd not be too concerned about that. Moreover, there are plenty of DRAM vendors on the planet, but few are capable of making genuinely good memory. Believe it or not, there are some unfortunate memory kits on the market using ICs that are otherwise known to be exceptional. Low-bin A-die ICs are not something I'd wish upon anyone, ever. That being said, at just under 1,900 or 1,800 or 116 euros, I'm really not sure about the daily price of this memory. Please take great care to get the A-die version and avoid the M-die kit, which is similarly priced and easy to select by mistake, if only because of how the AliExpress website sorts or lists memory. Anyway, onto the memory itself. It comes in a simple black box that is no doubt used for every other memory kit KingBank has on the market. Nothing says SoarBlade on the package or on the memory itself. Not even the timings are on display, apart from the one part which reads CL28. There is no other information, which is why, again, you should make sure that you are ordering the A-die version of this memory. That being said, this is DDR5 6000 memory at some particularly tight timings of CL28, 35, 35, 76, but at a relatively high 1.45 volts. While I do appreciate that there's no other DDR5 6000 CL28 kit with such tight timings, nothing says that those kits would not be able to match these timings at an additional 50 millivolts either. To double check this, I tried CL26, which is what some recently released low latency 1.4 volt memory is capable of, and I instantly got errors. As such, it's clear that these ICs here are not necessarily the finest pick, but oddly enough though, KingBank has placed these very same ICs on a 10-layer PCB as opposed to an 8-layer one, typically seen on the lower end memory modules. Not sure how this came about, but regardless, 1.45 volts won't get you much further than the default settings here. But if you add an additional 50 millivolts, and suddenly the memory comes alive. While DDR5 8400 was no-go, crashing in RAM test fairly quickly, DDR5 8200 worked flawlessly. Not only that, it was CL36, which is mighty impressive for a kit retailing at this price. This isn't to say that every kit will be able to do this, but I have every reason to believe that this is an average bin, random sample, so others should be able to do the same under the same test conditions. For the AMD users, yes, DDR5 8000 CL36 is usable of course, but so is DDR5 6400 CL28 at the same 1.5 volts. Since we are talking about A-die here, there's plenty of room as well for tuning secondary and tertiary timings as well, if you care for that sort of thing. With that established, let's get to the numbers. But before that, let's a quick rundown of the test platform I used. Testing was done on the Core 7 Ultra 265K, cooled by the ROG Ryujin 3 ARGB 360 Extreme, on the ROG Maximus Z890 Apex with the 1501 BIOS. The GPU was the ROG Strix GeForce RTX 4080, all of which is powered by the XPG Fusion 1600 watt ATX 3.0 PSU. As usual, first is AIDA64 memory bandwidth. Because the Core Ultra 7 CPU has a default spec of DDR5 6400, we see the SoarBlade memory at XMP fall beneath the reference performance. However, at DDR5 6400 CL28 and 8200, the performance is much improved. In fact, the difference between the XMP setting and DDR5 8200 is rather significant, with up to 50% more write bandwidth. Memory latency sees a sizable reduction as well, a 26% latency reduction from XMP to DDR5 8200. So, how do these translate into gaming performance? Well, when we look at Hitman World of Assassination, we see a 14% gain in average frame rates between XMP and DDR5 8200. The 1% low increases by a smaller 6% margin. In Forza Horizon 5, which doesn't scale much with memory tuning, we see a 5% gain in the average frame rates between the two extremes and a 7% gain in the 1% lows. In Dragon Age The Veilguard, between XMP and the DDR5 8200 setting, we see the average frame rate increase by 8% and the 1% lows by 3%. The DDR5 6400 CL28 setting is fairly close as well to the 8200 setting. But since you are needing to use the same 1.5 volts for stability, you may as well go for the DDR5 8200 setting. Finally, we have Marvel's Spider-Man 2, which like others shows an 8% gain in the average frame rate and in the 1% lows favors the DDR5 8200 when compared to the XMP settings as well. In the synthetic tests, I'll just take a look at a couple of these, and that's V-Ray, where the advantage of the DDR5 8200 set over the XMP settings is about 5%. In the handbrake test, however, the difference between XMP and the DDR5 8200, or in fact even the DDR5 6400 CL28 setting, is just 1 to 2%. Hardly anything you'll notice unless you're rendering projects that spend hours on end. So there you have it. I skipped many of the other synthetic tests, as for their effect is represented in the 7 charts you've just looked at here for the most part. For an introduction to the brand, this is a fairly strong showing. Visually, the memory heat sinks work, and I definitely prefer them in white over the gray or black option, which can be a little bit dull. The RGB lighting adds some visual flair as well, but it simply isn't as vibrant or as bright when compared to the premium offerings on the market. Still, I'm partial to this look, and I think the white with the red lettering works exceptionally well in virtually any build regardless of its color. Well, that's pretty much it for the KingBank SoarBlade DDR5 6000 memory. For the going price, this is a fantastic kit capable of some serious overclocking. With just a little bit more voltage, the memory remains cool still, and I think the peak was about 52 degrees, that's even after hours of RAM test. You'll struggle to beat the SoarBlade at this list price, and just for that and its OC headroom alone, this set gets a thumbs up from me. Either way, let me know what you guys think of the KingBank SoarBlade memory kit in the comments section, and until the next time, take great care of yourselves and peace!